We DM'd 100 celebrities for their boldest NFL take before the 2024 season. All right, Pac, I brought you in here because I've done all the legwork on this, okay? I DM'd 100 celebrities from the TSN Instagram account. Can't do it from my account. They're not going to answer from me. So we have to get the verified account involved. And we got a lot of responses. The message to them was this: the NFL season is right around the corner. What's your boldest take for the 2024 season?
I'd love to hear John Cena being like a massive fan of an NFL team, and we're hearing his hot take today.
His name is John Cena.
I'm going in blind. I'm super excited for this.
I want to start with one of the biggest snubs, though. We got one really funny ice from David Spade. So he iced us with a reply. Sorry, I just have mild takes at press time. I said mild works too, and he didn't read that message.
Yeah, he's probably going to block us.
I'm going to start with the biggest one, though, because this one was my favorite one. He's a Detroit Lions fan. Taylor Lautner.
Ooh.
Taylor Lautner responded.
I was always Team Edward, not Team Jacob.
Really?
But we'll see. Maybe this take can sway me.
Okay, here's the bold take. Last year, bracket, the ups and downs, end bracket, are exactly what the Detroit Lions needed. A friend and Super Bowl winning coach once told me they needed to lose a conference championship game to go on and actually win it all in a couple years. I think Detroit needed, in all caps, to lose that heartbreaking loss in the NFC Championship. This is their year, one pride with the Lions logo. And then he also was like, we were just talking in the DMs after, and he was like, you guys got a star in Summer McIntosh. So the guy was dialed into the Olympics. As a part of this as well, I'm going to get you to rate maybe the spiciness, but we appreciate every response we got. Bold, mild, mid, whatever it is.
Okay, Taylor Lautner, I love the passion you have for your Detroit Lions. I love Lions fans, but you got to be a little spicier with the take over here.
Really?
Picking like a top 4 roster in the NFL to win the Super Bowl. He could have said Amon-Ra St. Brown breaks the all-time receiving yards record. I don't know.
If this was like 3 years ago and the Detroit Lions were not in the position they're in now, that might have been a spicier one.
Yeah, then he would just be like breaking the heat meter, because the thought of Detroit Lions in Super Bowl didn't exist until very, very recently.
Let's move on. All-time low, one of my favorite bands. And Alex Gaskarth of All Time Low, who's also a huge Ravens fan, he said Kirk Cousins' playlist will propel him into a fantastic year. So I don't know if you saw the training camp playlist. All Time Low was on there. Electric pick by Kirk. And then Lamar and the Ravens will win the Super Bowl. I don't know. Is stock down on Lamar and the Ravens because of his kind of playoff mishaps?
I think it's tough for anyone to overcome the Chiefs at this point, but hey, again, going for your hometown team. Lamar's such a fun and electric player to watch, but I really like the Kirk one, because there's a personal tie in there, and then also that playlist I think was a ton of fun. Everyone was like, "Oh, Kirk, it's like the ultimate like kind of like dad playlist, but it makes him cool."
The sad reality is that most of my teammates, have heard and know none of those songs because there's like a 12-year age gap, and they were all born in the 2000s. So when I was in middle school listening to them, they were like 4 years old.
Do you agree with the bold take? Kirk Cousins
I
gonna
do.
have a fantastic year.
A lot of people are worried about the injury, but I think if there's one guy who can come in and immediately give a "you like that," it's Kirk Cousins.
Let's go with, I didn't expect this guy to respond. NFL RedZone's very own Scott Hansen.
Wow.
Yeah, baby. We got the big guns coming in for the bowl predictions.
That is, I don't think anyone you say can top that for me.
Scott...
I know there's other probably bigger celebrities, but that's a personal hero in my life, Scott Hansen.
I love it. He had a great prediction, and this one is going to lead to some interesting conversation. Scott said, can't wait for that first Red Zone on September 8th. My bold prediction is the new dynamic kickoff will yield double-digit kickoff returns for TDs in 2024. There were only 6 last season, so at least double that. And then he said, thanks for watching. Tell our great Red Zone TSN fans I say hello. So that's everyone watching Red Zone up in Canada here. A great message from the GOAT, Scott Hansen.
This is breaking the meter. I love the fact that he incorporated a new rule change, which a lot of people are going to be very intrigued by coming into this NFL season. Scott, you're the GOAT. If you're watching this, I've been practicing my 7 hours commercial-free football, so you let me know how that was. thank you for responding. And yeah, great take.
That is a great take. Do you agree with it? Do you think we're going to see double-digit kick return touchdowns? Because I certainly do. I think we have so many talented returners in the NFL. I love that they've implemented it, and I think it's going to yield a lot of interesting and really cool results that are going to give us some like household return names, which I feel like we haven't had for a while.
The guys like Devin Hester and Josh Cribbs, those were a little bit before my time, but I somewhat remember them. But in my era, I don't really have those like kick returners that truly left an impact. Like Devin Hester's a Hall of Fame for special teams play, and I think the game needs that.
Speaking of returners, our next guest, please welcome Hall of Famer Devin Hester.
Wow.
Yeah,
Very
Devin
cool.
Hester.
I was just talking about him.
He just said Texans Eagles. So I'm guessing that's his Super Bowl prediction. The Houston Texans against the Philadelphia Eagles. Texans on the rise. Eagles are in this weird state where like I think we all don't really know what to make of them. Where are you putting that on the bold meter?
I like this one a lot. I think it's spicy because the Texans are kind of banking on this continued ascension, and I'm maybe not as bullish as some people are on Houston. I think they're good, maybe not necessarily great yet. And then the Eagles, like you said, they were so great 2 years ago. Last year was a bad ending to the year, but they made a lot of good moves in the offseason. So I think they'll be a fun team as well. And this would be a great Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts and CJ Stroud sharing the big stage. Two young, really fun quarterbacks in the NFL right now. I'm liking what Devin Hester is predicting over here.
Let's move on to our next bold take. This one from a friend of the show. We've had her on before as far as DSC goes, interviews go. Heidi Gardner from Saturday Night Live.
I'm Travis Kelce, and I will be hosting Saturday Night Live this week.
Again, like you mean it, Trav.
I'm Travis Kelce, and I will be hosting.
Again.
I'm Travis.
Again.
I'm Travis.
Harder, Kelsey, everything you've got.
She said, I think we will see a behind the back pass in a regular season game. It's happening.
I love this one.
One of my favorites. That is like so specific, and I know we saw it in the preseason with Mahomes, and they were just having some fun. It's different, though, pulling it off in a regular season game as opposed to a preseason game. Who are we predicting he throws it to? It can't be anyone other than Travis Kelce, right?
I'd like to see it be Kelce. That would be a ton of fun.
Let's move on. Ooh, I like this one. Comedian, actor. You know him from a bunch of different films and stand-up specials. Gabriel Iglesias.
Ooh, Fluffy.
Yeah.
Fluffy.
They're big guys like, so, you got a problem with the Raiders? And I'm like, ah! They grabbed me, picked me up, and pinned me against the wall. Oh my God. Luckily, they fumbled me and I got away.
He said, with Harbaugh at the helm, I see the Chargers making the most noise, but in the end, I think we see KC back on top. I guess the bold take in this one, which we can allow ourselves to imagine a little more here, is the Chargers being back on top. It sounds like he's predicting an AFC West win. If that's the case, that's bold as hell.
A title in year one with Harbaugh, a division title, would be massive. We'll see how Herbert does. The weapons group isn't insane, and I feel like the Chargers have had much better rosters in years past, and they haven't won the division. So this would be big.
That pass catching group, someone has to emerge as like the alpha, because if they're not, like no matter how good Justin Herbert is, it's not really going to matter.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go to another musical guest. Are you familiar with the band Good Charlotte?
No.
This is tough. This is tough.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Joel Madden of Good Charlotte. That's going to get some pops for the YouTube crowd or the social media crowd. I will play you some Good Charlotte after. They're a great rock band. Really appreciate Joel responding. And he was very excited. He's like, let me gather my thoughts and come back to you. I have a few. Let me see which is the boldest. But first and foremost, as a fan of the Commanders, Washington football team going to the playoffs 100%. That's bold in itself.
I like that one a lot.
The next one, Caleb Williams is going to go off this season. I'm betting he sets some kind of records in Chicago. Now, we know the Chicago Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer. That's the record that I think of immediately.
And I think it's very, very possible for Caleb Williams to get it done. Love the weapons group that they have there in Chicago. I like him to throw 30 touchdowns too, which I don't think the Bears have also had a 30 touchdown passer. It could be the year of the rookie quarterbacks, especially in the NFC, which I feel is a conference that's experiencing a bit of a changing of the tide right now. This is a good one.
Extra spicy.
Extra spicy.
Wow, we love it. Let's move to a Dolphins one here. From actor Josh Gad.
Oh, I love Josh Gad. He's in The Wedding Ringer.
His bold prediction, short and simple. Dolphins finish with 11 wins, and then I responded, is 11 enough to win the AFC East this year? And he didn't respond to that. So maybe he's less confident in them winning the AFC East, but 11 wins for the Dolphins in a pretty loaded division with a tougher schedule, I'm sure, than they had a year ago. What do you think of that bold prediction?
If he is a Dolphins fan, I'd like him to say that they're going to win the Super Bowl. As a fellow Dolphins fan,
I believe he is a
little
Dolphins
bolder.
fan.
I mean, they won 10 games last year. I think it's very possible that they win 11 this year. But like you said, it's a tough division. 11 wins would have them in the playoffs, and that's what I want to see as a Dolphins fan. I want to see them win a playoff game this year.
Okay, so speaking of the Dolphins, I have another Dolphins prediction. And this comes from, you know him from Bones most popularly, David Boreanaz, huge football fan.
Quarterback, my guy, Jalen Hurts, Philadelphia Eagles, let's go Birds!
He gave me a lot to work with here because it's not just the Dolphins one. But we'll start with the Dolphins one. Miami Dolphins will reach the AFC Championship game. Woo! All right, second one. Jalen Carter from the Philadelphia Eagles will record 10+ sacks as the Eagles will win the Super Bowl. Very specific.
10+ sacks for like a second-year D tackle, which is like, okay, it's possible. And then bam, they're going to win the Super Bowl. But I like that he's showing love to not only defensive players, but defensive linemen. Shows me he's a big fan.
And then two more. This one an Eagles one. Saquon Barkley will lead the league in rushing, and Josh Allen wins MVP if they make it to the playoffs.
Saquon Barkley was a guy when he was coming out of college who was hailed as this, like, gonna change the position of running back. That's how good he is. And he's been good, but I don't think he's been that great. Maybe in a better offense in Philly, he finally reaches that ceiling. I feel like if Giants fans saw Saquon lead the league in rushing in Philadelphia, it would just be terrible. So it's a good one.
They were burning his jerseys before. I can't even imagine what they do to him then. Just checking the DMs right now. So this is live reaction. You know the band AWOL Nation?
If you ask me for one more band, I don't know if I'll be able to give you an answer that I do.
Oh, no!
Do you know the song Sail?
Yes, yeah.
That's AWOL Nation.
Okay.
This is a great... There, we know it. I'm pumped for this one. Raiders 10 wins and a wild card with Gardner Minshew a quarterback.
Wow.
What has to happen for the Raiders to win 10 games this year?
Maybe there's some other teams that get hit with the injury bug. The Raiders, they looked like they were pretty solid under Antonio Pierce. They build some momentum. I think the Raiders can easily win 7 games.
Well, if 7 wins is kind of where you could see it, 10 wins has got to be an extra spicy then.
It is. This one is probably the most spicy we've heard so far because it's a team that doesn't have any real expectations, and we're picking them to be in the playoffs.
All right, let's move on. This one might top the Raiders as being the boldest. This is from a guy that I've watched the entire show, New Girl, so I'm very familiar with him. Lamorne Morris.
Thanks, officer.
Call an ambulance.
I feel fine.
For me!
Here's his bold take. Bears are winning the Super Bowl. You can bet on that. And then I said, take it to the bank. If the Bears are winning the Super Bowl, Caleb Williams over under 37 touchdown passes as a rookie. He said over.
Wow.
So,
well, that would have been enough to lead the whole league in touchdown passes a year ago. If Caleb Williams comes out and does that as a rookie season, I think he's immediately in that, like, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow tier of, like, the next best quarterback to Patrick Mahomes. I think that's the boldest we've heard so far.
no rookie quarterback has ever won the Super Bowl in their first year. Like, this is one of the hottest takes you could ever have. And I know you mentioned before, like, we're talking about them as a wild card team this year, not even a division winner. So you got to kind of walk before you run. But Lamorne is just like, they are running into the title game, winning it.
Lamorne, I imagine you're a Chicago fan. I understand the high expectations. Tread with caution is all I'm going to say.
All right, the next one, rapper Lecrae. I've listened to his music for a long time. He gave me a great prediction as well. I got Houston Texans in the playoffs with Stroud becoming even greater, Caleb Williams getting Chicago to the playoffs, and Pittsburgh letting Justin Fields get some action to help Russell Wilson get them there too. This is my favorite part of the prediction. I have the Cowboys failing to make it again as usual, despite the fans being delusional. He just took an unprompted shot at the Cowboys fans, and that's not bold at all. That's mid because it's been happening forever.
I love that one because it feels like First of all, he gave you 3 takes before that. And he's like, you know what? Let's just have these Cowboys fans just catch the biggest stray of all time. And let me just rip the whole entire Cowboys Nation fan base, as everyone loves to do in the NFL.
All right, let's go to another one. 8.5 million followers on Instagram. I just had to shout it out because I think that's the most we got out of any guest. Comedian Matt Rife. Short and simple. Justin Fields should be starting for Pittsburgh. I said, love this take. How many weeks do you think it takes for him to start? Didn't respond. So we're going to answer that question right now.
Ooh.
How many weeks do you think it's going to take for Justin Fields to start? I think they're going to let Russ go back to Denver, and Denver's going to destroy him in week 2. I think it's going to be like week 4 or 5.
Wow. I like the Denver answer. I wanted to go in a similar direction, but I'm going to say it takes a little longer. I'm going to say by week 7.
All right, let's go with this one here. This one was a late addition. Rico Rodriguez from
Modern Family.
most notably Modern Family. Big Houston Texans fan. My bold prediction is that my dude CJ Stroud will be the MVP this season and lead my Texans to the AFC Championship game. For Stroud to win MVP, I feel like that claim feels really bold just because of the QB talent in the league. But you always say it. MVP is a narrative award. And I don't think there's a better narrative in the NFL for another quarterback. Stroud's got the perfect narrative.
Well, he's got the perfect group of receivers to throw for 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns too, which would be more than enough. I mean, if we look at Lamar's passing numbers a year ago, I know it wasn't a big statistical year from everyone, but if Stroud does that, he has a very good chance.
Let's go to a Chris Hine favorite, Benny the Butcher, the rapper. Big Bills fan.
We the mafia, Bills mafia, Bills mafia, we the mafia, Bills mafia, Bills mafia.
Rookie Keon Coleman, 10 tutties. He didn't even say touchdowns. He said tutties.
I think Josh Allen's going to still throw 30 touchdowns this year. So someone's going to have to catch these 30 touchdowns. Big, nice target. He can go up and get the ball. I could see this happening.
He's the easiest person to picture in that role, like you said, of just throw it up to him guy. Florida State could probably have used him this season based on their start. All right, here's another Bills fan. Chad Michael Murray, ladies and gentlemen. Hey. He said, boldest take. Baltimore wins the Super Bowl. Bracket, not bold take. However, Josh Allen wins MVP or Offensive Player of the Year. Chargers win the AFC West. That's a bold one. That is a bold one. We've kind of mentioned the Chargers winning the AFC West and that being a bold prediction. You can talk yourself into a path where, like, the Chiefs, because of their year-over dominance and maybe playing a harder schedule, that they get a wild card spot. But then you have to talk yourself into one of the Broncos, Chargers, or Raiders winning the division. And the Broncos have beaten Mahomes once since he came into the league.
I think it's really bold.
Let's go with a hockey player from your Montreal Canadiens.
Is it Brendan Gallagher?
Captain Nick Suzuki.
Oh, wow. Bengals fan.
He's a Bengals fan. I was expecting a Bengals prediction. He just said Jared Goff MVP. That was it.
And you know what? There's not a player in the NFL that resembles Nick Suzuki more than Jared Goff. Because he's just so consistent, so steady, shows up to work every day, does his job. Maybe doesn't always get the credit he deserves, but he's the leader of his team. And you know what? I could see if the Lions go on this crazy run, I could see him winning MVP. And maybe I can see Nick Suzuki winning MVP this NHL season.
Wow, a double MVP. Here's a bold
I
prediction.
mean, if Jared Goff's going to do it, Nick Suzuki, you better go out and do it too.
I love it. Let's move on to Simon Rex. I know him most for the Scary Movie series. Loved him in that. And he gave a pretty bold prediction. The 49ers win it all by 49 points.
Ooh.
If any offense can win a Super Bowl by 49 points, don't you think it's Kyle Shanahan's?
I think maybe they're leading by 49 in the third quarter and they find a way to choke it away as they do every Super Bowl. That's my bold prediction.
Here's the thing of why I can see the 49ers doing it. It's exactly what you mentioned, because Kyle Shanahan's experience of being up 28-3 and not scoring enough points, even though it's like 28-3, you should win that game every time. It's a lot more than not scoring enough points. I think that's the reason why, because if they get in the Super Bowl and they're up, like, let's say 21-10, he is just going to pour it on until they're up 49 points and then stop.
I think maybe he'll try to, but I don't know. It hasn't worked for him. I like this one, though. It's a fun one.
All right, let's move on to another actor, White Collar, if you guys have seen that. Matt Bomer.
Yeah.
Matt Bomer. This one is a great one. Washington QB Jaden Daniels has the greatest rookie season of all time for a QB, boasting 3,600 passing yards while putting up another 1,000 on the ground and leading the Commanders to the playoffs. We've heard of Commanders to the playoffs take. We haven't heard of Jaden Daniels one like that. And then I was like, can we use it for a video? And he said, hey, It's more my son's take than mine, so if you post it, please credit him. So shout out to Matt Bomber's son, Kit. Simply Kit Kat on IG. He just started college and it would make his day if you include him. So a really heartwarming prediction for Matt Bomber and his son, Kit. I love it. I think this is extra spicy. Jaden Daniels, 3,600 plus passing yards, over 1,000 rushing. This is Cam Newton 2.0 if he's doing that as a rookie. My bold prediction is he's going to win Rookie of the Year. I just think Jaden Daniels is going to put up so many numbers, so I'm all in on this take. All right, last two. Quarterback for Team Germany flag football, Mona Stevens.
That's a pretty cool title to have. Yeah.
Very
Team
cool
Germany.
title to have. And she's met Patrick Mahomes before, so I said, what's your MVP prediction this season? I'll go with Mahomes.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes won an MVP 2 years ago. I feel like, again, though, it could be bold because the narrative, I feel like, will never favor Mahomes much like it did with Brady because we're all tired of seeing him win stuff.
Yeah, I think he's kind of, at this point in his career now, he's got the LeBron James effect where he probably has to do more than other quarterbacks have to do in order to win people over, just because when he's just dominating every year, it gets tiring and people are always looking for someone else. I trust the quarterback of Team Germany flag football to know a lot more about football than I do. So I'm gonna listen to her takes, and I'm going to agree with her. I think Mahomes has a great shot of winning MVP this year.
Last one we'll go with here, Swerve Strickland, AEW wrestler, former champion, just lost his title, but an amazing champion, an amazing wrestler. He's watching out for CJ Stroud to make an MVP caliber run. Niners get over the hump and win the big one. Jaden Daniels, Rookie of the Year.
I think that was probably the biggest theme through all of this was everyone's high on the Houston Texans this year, and for good reason. They got a great team. You and I are hardly celebrities, but I think to end the video, what is your bold take for the 2024 NFL season?
Bo Nix wins Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Oh, I love it.
If you go back to the draft reaction video we did, I was not in on Bo Nix. I was not happy about it. And now I've seen him run the Sean Payton offense. We're not doing this whole Jared Stidham gets to play 2 games. We're throwing him into the fire. Week 1 in Seattle. Tough place to play. Can't be worse than when Russ was there and didn't lead us to a win against his former team a couple years ago. I have faith in him a little more after seeing the preseason he had and seeing how comfortable he looked in that Sean Payton offense. Sean Payton said he viewed Bo Nix as Patrick Mahomes, so maybe he's going to win MVP too.
Hey, all you can do is hope, right? As a Broncos fan, all you can do is hope.
What about you? What's your bold take?
I think when you do a bold prediction, you can't be afraid of it completely blowing up and you looking foolish.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be pretty ambitious here. Bryce Young was the first overall pick a year ago.
I love this already.
And everyone has completely written him off. Everyone's already laughing at the Carolina Panthers. No one has any hope for him turning into anything just because how tough of a season he had a year ago. But they got some better weapons there. My bold prediction this year, Bryce Young throws for 4,000 yards.
Yes.
25 touchdowns.
Yes!
I want to say 30. I feel like that's too much. 4,000 yards.
Say 30. Say
4,000 yards. 30 touchdowns.
Yeah!
The Carolina Panthers win the NFC South.
Wow.
It is wide open, that division. Who says no?
I love this. This is one of my favorite ones. That's bold predictions. Thank you to all the celebrities that responded. Thank you to everyone that responded in our DMs. And if you like this style of video, we'd love to do it for other sports as well. And also, familiar faces here. We're going to be dropping a lot more content on the Bar Down YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to it. But you can catch all our football stuff here because we are going to be doing a lot more football stuff throughout the season. CFL, NFL, college. It'll all be on the TSN channel still. But if you're a hockey fan watching this also, make sure you go subscribe.